Further
Unfiltered
along than I
Mike.
am.
Look at Dave, he's so nervous.
Not nervous at all.
Different.
And if I was nervous... Oh man, I was playing the wrong song.
I really wanted to download a soundboard on my iPad, but I forgot.
Down the wrong song. Already off to a rough start.
Gotta be handy with the steel, if you know what I mean. Earn your keep.
Regulators, mount up.
It was a clear black night, a clear white moon. Warren G was on the streets trying to consume some skirts for the E, so I could get some fun.
All right.
Chilling all alone.
Just hit the east side of the LBC on a mission trying to find Mr.
Oh, that's what he's got.
All right, this is the Daily Fantasy NBA show, the last one of the season. Sad face. But it's okay, because we'll be doing baseball stuff. On today's show, we have none other than Mr. Dave Lochran, a.k.a. Laffy D. And then we have the guy that needs no introduction because everyone knows this man, his jerseys and his room color define him. Mr. Michael Leone from
What's up, guys?
Roto Experts.
Hey, Michael.
Nice hat, Laufey. Go Jays.
Thank you, Michael.
Oh, yeah, Michael, you would like that because of...
Don't you dare make a Canadian joke.
Because you're Canadian.
I don't like the Jays. I just like the ball cap.
We have a big tournament tonight. 1.2 million dollars.
This is going to be an epic show. I can feel it.
I know. Everyone's so
I can
sleep
feel
deprived.
it coming.
A $1.2 million basketball championship on FanDuel. I'm rocking the FanDuel championship shirt for baseball, hoping that it brings me better luck than the actual championship where I was 44th out of 45th place.
What was your start
Could have
again
been
with your
worse.
hitters?
My hitters started 0 for 17. So I pretty much knew from the get-go it was a done deal. Last night, not much better though. Started 1 for 23.
I was right there with you.
FanDuel games. And Mike, before we go on, I don't know if you and I should play on Fantasy Elite anymore. Because it seems like it's been a little one-sided.
Well, I need you to, it's a hustle. I get you in these $23 games. Bam, we play, a $5.25. Things change. So you just get comfy.
All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about on the show. Oh, Mike's shuffling his papers, Jim Rome style. I need to do that too. All right, Dave. Do you have any papers that are
Shuffleable?
that you can write on?
I wish I did.
Don't worry about
it. I have a nice little Microsoft Word program that
No.
that gets the job done.
Oh, I know all about the papers that you use. I know all about it.
Don't even get that, but I'm just gonna say, all right.
Rolling papers.
Yeah, I get it. I don't even smoke weed, but when's the last time people used rolling papers?
For cigarettes, people do.
Right, because I roll my...
Yeah, you seem like the hipster that rolls her cigarettes. All right, enough with that. Let's talk about the news for tonight and basically this tournament. $120,000 goes to the championship. Do you guys think there's going to be any overlay in this thing?
I haven't looked, actually.
I think last time I looked, it was 30 minutes ago, and it was like 4,500 out of 6,500.
I think that'd be really cool for the industry if the whole thing filled. But
I think it will fill. I mean,
what?
I
hope it fails.
What?
Why?
I don't know, because I just wanted to. I'm joking. There's 4,400 entries right now.
Yeah. So
that's not going to fill.
So it's 2/3 full. But it's not like the DraftKings where it's a $500 entry. It's a $200 entry. So I think it'll get at least 90% full. I love FanDuel, but man, they have got to come stronger than a 25 buy 25 get 1 ticket free, or 90 buy 90 tickets get 10 free. Like there's got to be a little more incentive to buy in bulk.
Nobody jams you up like FanDuel, man. They jam you up worse than any other site, and everybody knows it.
Why they don't do like a cross promo with like the baseball qualifiers or something?
Well, I think the biggest thing is
like DraftKings.
The biggest thing with FanDuel is they don't have to because they're so big. However, I just think that DraftKings and FanDuel probably fell short on the mark as far as issuing tickets for both their big events. Like if you want it to fill, you need to have more qualifiers, more super. I mean, the super qualifiers are going to fill, I think, or at least have a little less overlay than what you would at the final go. But enough about that. Let's talk about just kind of the positional value, how it's going to be played tonight. I feel like point guard, power forward, there's a dime a dozen. Even shooting guard, there are some pretty obvious options out there. Small forward and center is going to be a little more difficult unless you want to go a little bit risky with some cheaper guys. So without further ado, let's go over some of the big news for tonight. You've got Kyle Lowry and Amir Johnson, both questionable. Pat is going to play. You have Dwayne Wade, who is doubtful for tonight. And so you might have a situation where you have to choose between LeBron James and Kevin Durant at that small forward spot. Pekovic questionable. Ray Allen questionable. You've got Avery Bradley questionable. Luol Deng probable. Andy Varejao questionable. Anthony Davis now questionable. It's you just keep on going on. Eric Gordon questionable. Dwight Howard doubtful.
Pekovic.
Yeah, I think we already said him. We did.
We did.
He's questionable.
Did we talk about Bogut and David Lee?
Sorry.
I'm getting to. I haven't got to you guys. Come on, you're acting like rookies on this show. Come on, what are you doing? You've got Russ Westbrook going to be out. Of course, Patrick Beverley out for the rest of the regular season at least. Chris Kaman and Pau Gasol going to be out. David Lee, Andrew Bogut are going to be out, and possibly Iguodala for this Warriors game. And then you have Isaiah Thomas, who is also doubtful, meaning that Ray McCallum is going to probably be the highest owned player for tonight. So there you go. That's the
you know what? Dwayne Wade needs to take a page from Nick Collison's book.
You're cutting out on us, Dave. I have no clue what you just said, but it sounded like you said Dwayne Wade needs to take a pee out of Alpha, and for that, I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means, but I respect it.
Oh, there you are, Dave. You said Dwayne Wade needs to take.
I can't win, man. I can't win.
Well, it's true, but try to at least. Dwayne Wade, you said needs to take a page out of what?
I hate this.
All right. Well,
take a page out of Nick Collison's book.
I had to pick him up from the airport, so I got my dad's car, but then they dropped me off on the way
hold
home.
on. We have Mike, who's in
Nick
a pretty
Collison's
in-depth
book.
conversation. Great start. Great start. We have Mike talking about airport stuff, and Dave, who is not available. Al said that Dave's new name needs to be Laggy _D, which is kind of funny. All right, Mike. It looks like you're the only one on the line with me. So
okay, let's
if you have
do
all
this.
your personal questions out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the games tonight. As far as like the biggest news outside the Isaiah Thomas news, where McCollum is one of your point guards, what do you think is the biggest news?
I think the Bogut David Lee news is pretty big because it lets you play Draymond Green in that second small forward spot on FanDuel, and then you can fit in either LeBron or Durant. I think you want one of those two in almost all your lineups, even if you're doing multi-entry.
I disagree.
Why do you disagree?
I don't think you have to have him in all your lineups.
Okay.
I think you have it's possible, especially with Wade out. You have the highest, one of the highest over/under games with this Rockets Thunder game, but I think you can go cheap at the small forward spot and go with Draymond Green, like you just mentioned, and Ryan Kelly.
I just don't trust Kelly when you've got so many. I mean, LeBron at 10K is underpriced before Wade is out. And then it's an up-tempo game on top of that. And if you look at Durant's usage rate is like, what? On the season, it's the league leading 32.9. Highest in the league. And then it increases to about 36 with Westbrook out. So you're adding about 8% to already the best fantasy player at not a very good position in a high-scoring game. He's played heavy minutes in all 3 games against the Rockets. I really like one of those two in your lineup, and I think you can make it happen. I mean, I guess maybe not all your teams, but if I was setting one team, I would have Durant or LeBron.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that. Cash games, and then like maybe you could even say a majority. I just don't think you have to have. This is a tournament that's got 6,000 something entries.
Okay, so not all right. Yeah, I probably overstated. You're correct.
Yeah, I think that you have to go a little bit like.
What's
Go ahead.
Sorry. What's Harrison Barnes' price?
Let me.
Because you might be able to double up on the Golden State small forwards if Iggy's out. Take the chance that Iggy's out too.
He's 3,500.
Yeah, so if you double up there, because I think he played 40 minutes last game, and Green played. They're both going to play 30 plus if all 3 of those guys are out. That's not a bad risk to take, even if we don't know the news ahead of time.
Yeah, you've got. Do you know the nickname for Harrison Barnes?
No.
The Black Falcon.
Can you do a Falcon impression? Are you doing the Dirty Bird?
That's a Falcon impression, right? No, but I think what I'm saying is that there's going to be over 6,000 teams. So yeah, I don't mind using Harrison Barnes and Draymond Green like we did that one. I think it was a Sunday that you had pretty much the same situation with Iggy, Bogut, and Lee being out, and both those guys were great if you doubled up on them. Obviously, you're going to have to, you're going to basically have to risk the Iguodala news because we're not going to know that till later.
Yeah, I think if you've got 10 entries in this thing, maybe you do one that way. I don't think it's like a core strategy to use, but I think it's going to let you do some other things and have some low-owned, expensive players elsewhere. If a lot of people, like you said, it's such a big tournament. If so many people have either Durant or LeBron, they're not going to be able to have the expensive guys like Al Jefferson at center and plays like that could just go off.
Yeah, I mean, there are a few strategies that you can use for tonight. If you want to fade like a highly owned player, if you have multiple entries tonight, you could like go expensive on the point guards and fade Ray tonight.
Oh, yeah, you could. Those minutes though. I feel like you start with a guy that's guaranteed to hit value, and you just go from there and hope you get the rest of the 7 right, or the other 8 right.
Yeah, he's going to be the highest owned player tonight.
It's hard though to find that line between being, contrarian and being stupid. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. But I think that again, if you're just trying to cash, then I think that you have to play Ray. If you're trying to be like in the top 10%, I mean, there are crazier things than a point guard twisting their ankle or just not meeting value. And you you having, I mean, let's say he's 60 to 65% owned, and you having a leg up on the other 30 to 35%. I think what I'm saying is you target the guy who you think is going to be played the most, and you fade him. And so that's why I think that for multiple entries, it's good. I do think that I will be playing some entries that will be kind of outside the box. You got guys like Parsons, who probably not a lot of people are targeting, but his usage and his production over the past 7 or 8 games has been where he and Harden are kind of carrying that load. I think on another team, Jeremy Lin, he coming off a terrible game versus the Clippers, but against Reggie Jackson might be a decent play. So,
Dave, am I back?
You are, Dave. Do you have some contrarian plays?
Yeah, I have one a value play. My article should be out any minute now, but assuming Avery Bradley is not playing, and I don't think he will, someone that has been really under the radar over the past 2 games, because he really hasn't done much, but the minutes are there. Chris Johnson on the Celtics, he's played 33 or more minutes in 2 straight games, and while the production isn't there, if he logs 33 minutes tonight against the Sixers, he's 3,500 on FanDuel. It's going to be hard for me not to play him if Bradley's out.
Interesting. Is he...
Small forward.
Yeah, he is small forward. Yeah, it's a good play.
And then you have Jeff Green, too.
I think that Ryan Kelly offers... I know it's hard trusting someone in this D'Antoni offense, but I think without Pow, and and Kaman, I think that he's going to see... He'll see minutes, and he's more likely than Harrison Barnes to hit the 30-point mark tonight. But Harrison.
Well, when you look, Jordan Hill's only $500 more than him. So I mean,
well, he's a power forward. Jordan Hill is going to be in most of my lineups, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right. Kelly's small forward on FanDuel for some reason.
Yes.
I mean, weren't Kaman and Powell out last game and he didn't do much? He played 28 minutes.
That's the thing I don't understand. You got Kaman and Powell and Hill. When Hill gets even 28, 29 minutes, he's putting up monster numbers. And D'Antoni still won't play him. I don't blame him for not wanting to come back next season. It doesn't make any sense. Like, this guy should be getting 37 minutes a game with both of them out.
Yeah. I just think for upside, you've seen in the past where Ryan Kelly kind of goes off. The thing with the Lakers is that you don't know from a night-to-night basis who's going to go off. Like, you've got the 2 shooting guards with Nick Young and Bazemore. One of those guys might go off, but I'm probably avoiding them both altogether tonight.
I think the hard part about tonight, and it's kind of, this conversation is kind of a good example of that, is there's so many games and so many good plays that we're all arguing good plays. It's not like one of us is throwing out there something stupid, you know?
That's why I hate 13 game slates. I know the sites love to run their big tournaments on these type of nights, but I personally prefer like a 10-game slate. 14 is just out of control.
Yeah, I tend to agree, but it does make it fun for a tournament that's so multi-entry friendly.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's obviously what they need to do when you have 6,000 entries, but at the same time, I would just prefer them not to do it.
Yeah, it definitely makes it hard from a recommendation standpoint, because I was writing up point guards today, and I chatted Dave, and I was just like, there's approximately 97 point guards that are playable today.
I don't know. I think Rondo, if he plays, is my top point guard play. Just for the reason of the Sixers are 12th in points allowed and 11th in field goal percentage allowed to opposing power forwards. And with Rondo not being a scorer, it's perfect because they allow the most assists, the second most steals, and the second most rebounds to the position. He's killed them over the years. He came like a rebound shy and a point shy of a triple-double this year against them. His game is so conducive to his skill set that I could easily see triple-double here, even if it's like a 10-10-14 game, assuming he plays, though. Another one is John Wall against the Knicks. Big fan of Johnny W.
I like Curry as the expensive point guard play.
I cannot play Curry right now, man. He in really tight games where they've needed to win, especially with Lee and Bogut out, he's been tentative. He's not shooting as much. He scares the hell out of me right now.
He just hit the game
man.
winner. I mean, he's coming off a heater. Coming off.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I think
he just stunk
that's
against
more
San
just
Antonio.
like a random. I don't think there's something wrong with Curry right now. I think there's just a random few games where he hasn't performed well, and we get the price. Sub 9K on FanDuel is a really good price for him going up against the Kings team.
Oh yeah, 8,900. I just saw that. That's an excellent price. I guess my thing is I expected him to be a lot more aggressive with Lee out. And last game against San Antonio, I'll give him that. He only had 11 points and 10 assists. I'll give him that. It's against San Antonio, even though they're not great against point guards. But Dallas, that game went into overtime. And if that didn't go into overtime, that's another sub-40 fantasy point game. And his peripherals, 1 assist against the Knicks. So, yeah, he's had some big games. But when you look over his game log, he's not – that $8,900 price tag is actually pretty accurate when you look at his recent production.
Yeah, I think it's just the difference if you're taking like a season-long approach on his value or a recent approach, and it probably lies somewhere in the middle. But the one position – what do you guys feel strategically from a center standpoint? Because there's a few high-priced guys that could really go off, but then you've also got Asik, who's, again, kind of like the McCallum equivalent at center.
Yeah,
I'll give you a guy that I know he's a little overpriced, but Jang against the Heat, I could see 20 rebounds coming there tonight if Pekovic doesn't play. He's 6,100, so he's more than I would prefer to spend on, and he only played like 26 minutes last game. But a young guy going up against a team like that, might have some added, intensity. I really like him tonight if he starts a lot.
I think Cousins is the high upside guy for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's the same price as Noah. If Noah was cheaper, I would go Noah hands down. If Noah was like $9,000 against Milwaukee, even with blowout concern, but I'm not paying over $10K for Noah.
Yeah, I think, with Bogut out.
Yeah, without the rim
Cousins.
protection that Bogut provides, and you've got basically Jermaine O'Neal and Spates, the two guys that are going to try to cover Boogie, and I just don't think that is going to happen.
I would have to agree.
Did point out that Noah is not cheaper, Dave, so it's a mute point.
I like Scott's boy tonight.
Al Jeff?
Al Jeff, he's a little cheaper than the other guys, and when I was writing today, one of the things I tried to focus on is rotations of competing teams that have tightened a bit. And aside from the huge blowout in Philly, the previous 4 games he hit the 40-minute mark in all of them, which for a player who's averaging 34 on the season, that's a huge increase in opportunity. And his usage rate is higher with McRoberts off the floor, and he's most likely not playing. So I think you get a similar huge upside as Cousins, Noah, but a cheaper price tag to go with it.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're looking at DraftKings, though, Noah's $8,700. So obviously the same price as Cousins on FanDuel, but $87 for Noah. Look at his consistency. While his production hasn't been really that great in recent games, he is so consistent, and you won't see less than 35 fantasy points from him. So on a site like that also awards extra points for double-doubles and triple-doubles, yeah, I'm all in on that. I'll take that all day.
I definitely agree with you on DraftKings. They, for whatever reason, refuse to bump Noah's price up that much. I take him on DraftKings more than half the times I play there. One of my highest owned players.
Mike, how about LaMarcus Aldridge, $9,000 on DraftKings?
I don't know. I feel more comfortable with a lot of other options tonight.
Zach Randolph being one of those.
I love
Yeah.
Zebo, man.
I love Zebo. I like Millsap a lot. He's another kind of like Al Jeff, a rotation that's tightened a little bit. He's up like high 30s minutes per game, about a 5-minute per game increase, and Cleveland ranking 26th in the league in defensive efficiency against power forwards. But Zebo has huge upside, and what Denver gives up to power forwards, most points allowed to power forwards, third most rebounds allowed to power forwards. That's exactly where Zebo makes his bank. I mean, I know all big guys make their bank on points and rebounds, but him particularly so. A high percentage of his fantasy output is from those two stat categories.
Let's talk about shooting guard just for a second. You've got Harden and Ellis, both in very good matchups tonight. And then if Iguodala is out, you've got Klay Thompson, who is going to see more work, but still is a pretty safe option. You've got like I said, the two Lakers shooting guards, even three, I guess you could say.
You can count Swaggy?
What's that?
Are you counting Swaggy?
Yes. Like, I'm just saying as tournament plays. Like I said,
Yeah.
I probably won't touch them, but I feel like if one of those guys goes off, you're in a good spot.
Yeah, I like
Harden is.
Dave, go ahead.
The thing about Harden is he struggled against the Thunder, but and with Cephalosha, I'm assuming he's out, right? I mean, I don't really keep tabs on him, but he hasn't been in.
He's out.
He's out. Okay.
I'm on the Harden train, but you go ahead.
Which makes Harden a much better play with Cephalosha out, especially at home, and with Howard out. The only problem here is that there's a lot of other good top tier plays, and it's going to be difficult for me to fit Harden into my lineup. If this were a night where it wasn't 14 games and Harden was, one of the top couple plays, I think I would definitely consider throwing him in because I do think he's going to have a pretty good game tonight. But I don't know. I'd probably rather spend a little bit more on someone else who I know is going to be a bit more consistent. But I do like Harden tonight, and I think he will finally put together a really solid game against the Thunder.
Yeah. I love Harden. His usage rate with Beverly and Howard off the court is like 35-ish, which is amazing. And like you pointed out, if you look at the game log versus OKC, last game out he almost posted a triple-double, huge line, and that was with Tabo out. He struggled the other two, but that was with Tabo in. I'm all over Harden. I'm going to probably have him around, even with high-priced options elsewhere, I'll probably have him around half my entries on FanDuel.
Yeah, I think it just depends how expensive he is compared to other players, because like 97 on FanDuel, in my opinion tonight, that's a steal, an absolute steal. But I'm not sure what he is. I mean, he's what, 10K on DraftKings. Even that's not bad. The problem with that is there's other guys like Cousins that's 9.6, and Jefferson at 9.3, Aldridge at 9,000, and that's kind of what throws me off a bit. Carmelo Anthony's 9,900, and even Kevin Love, who we haven't talked about yet, is 10.8. He's an intriguing play tonight, but a little bit frightening as well.
Yeah, sticking to the shooting guard situation.
Sorry, Dave.
It's okay. It's fine. I know this is what you do.
We're being like as professional as we've been in months, so
I think so.
Dave's just gonna let us go.
No, I mean, not saying a whole lot. I mean, the bar has been pretty low for professionalism on this show.
Well,
on Fridays.
agreed, but we're still above.
Aside from the host not knowing how to pronounce certain words, I would have to go ahead and say this is a 10 out of 10.
I said mute on purpose. I even emphasized the mute instead of the moot. Anyways, can we move on? Laggy
Monta.
It's all a mute point.
Monta.
Sure.
Monta and he and Harden are the main options. I mean, Monta has a good matchup tonight. Here are some guys that I want to get your opinion on as far as like outside the box contrarian plays. You've got DeRozan going up against Indy, but if Kyle Lowry is out, he would be very much a contrarian play. at 7,900.
Definitely.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, I said definitely. I completely agree that if Lowry's out, it's a tough matchup for DeRozan. He's going to be low. He's not going to be owned in a lot of lineups. I completely agree with that. That's not to say I like him or I love him, but it is to say that with Lowry out, the upside is pretty substantial.
Yeah, you've got also Anthony Davis. He is questionable. If he is out, Tyreek against the Jazz is another high price option that you might want to go.
Last week.
What's that?
When Davis went out after 4 minutes last week, that was against Utah, and Evans cooked them. 21 points, 22 points, 15 assists. So, yeah.
And that's pretty good. Other guys, I don't know. Lance Stevenson, I tried to play him last time, and he would be, I guess, a contrarian play, but...
Well, I mean...
Go ahead.
Everyone who's not a good play is a contrarian play.
Well, I mean...
Here's a good contrarian play.
No.
Gordon Hayward.
No,
I see what you're doing, but I this is why I am not that good at these huge entries, is because I can't not play a good EV play.
Right.
I can't bring myself to do it.
No, I don't want to say.
So good at
I'm not saying it's a bad idea. Because the people who win are going to have a contrarian play like you're listed. I'm just so wired to not do it that it's a downfall for me in these tournaments.
I don't know. I just kind of take offense because this isn't the type of show that we say that bad plays are contrarian plays. I know.
I exaggerated.
Yeah, well, you did, and you hurt my feelings. I'm pointing out that you've got some potential situations that warrant some shooting guard. Shooting guard is tough outside of Monta and James Harden with the expensive guys. Any cheap shooting guards that you see?
I'm not on any really cheap shooting guards, which is why I said I'd probably have Harden on half my teams, because even though there's really good power forwards and a center, you've got cheap guys there that I'm comfortable filling in, and less cheap guys I'm comfortable filling in at shooting guard, which is why I'm probably going to spend on the majority of my entries. Aflalo looks underpriced, but that rotation's a mess. It's filled with people. You don't know who's going to get minutes. I guess Austin Rivers has been playing a ton if Gordon remains out, but he just kind of sucks.
You have Q Master Q asking why my camera always looks like a porno. I don't know. I don't know. This.
Someone mentioned Courtney Lee. That's a good one, though.
Not normally what the camera is used for. Courtney Lee, yeah. Courtney Lee is a good one. As far as
I like that one because that's what he's been playing a lot of minutes, and it's Denver up tempo. Sign me up. I like that one.
What exactly is your reasoning behind Courtney Lee? Just a price tag? Actually, yeah, he's had 3 decent games. Yeah, I guess he's not a terrible play.
He's played 34 minutes back-to-back games, and now he's playing Denver. You could do a lot worse if you're looking at the cheap.
Yeah. He put up 32 fantasy points against Denver just a couple days ago. So he's had 7 and 6 rebounds in his last 2. I don't expect that to continue, but in a faster-paced game, it's definitely possible. Dave, if we're talking about contrarian, what about Gordon Hayward at home against the Pelicans?
Yeah, so I was going to mention Gordon before Mike offended me, but
he was 5th on a list of 30.
6,900 on FanDuel.
I think that I don't have a problem with Gordon Hayward. You look at what I don't have a problem with Hayward. I don't have a problem, especially if Davis is out with Favors. Also getting some love at that power forward spot. So, I really think that shooting guard tonight is potentially the key. Nailing shooting guard spot. If Monty doesn't have a good game or Harden doesn't have a good game, there's going to be a lot of people that have those guys, myself included. I'm with you, Mike. But they're high-priced guys that have volatility. And if they don't perform, then you're going to need that shooting guard spot to perform, get you 30, 35 points. Let's see. Let's get to some questions, and then we will get back on track. No love for Dirk versus the Lakers. That from Dirty.
I like Dirk versus the Lakers, and I know he's been playing more, another one of those teams that's been playing more, battling for the last playoff spot, but still, second night of a back-to-back. I mean, I'm not thrilled with it when I can take Zebo or Millsap for not that much more. I will have him on a quality team, but I guess this is the actual event, but I won't have him as like a core play where I have him on more than just a couple of my entries.
Just say you'll have him on one of your teams, really.
You
just say that you'll have him on one of your teams.
Yeah, I didn't need the indicator
right.
that it was a quality when it wasn't a quality.
Fishcake King says Batum or Aflalo he likes as contrarian plays. This Portland game is going to be a high-scoring game. So people are asking about LaMarcus Aldridge, Batum. You see what Lillard did last game. Good gracious. So thoughts on this Portland squad, Dave, against the Suns?
Yeah, I think it all depends on pricing, but I don't know. I'm not really huge on anybody from this game. Batum has potential, but outside of his last game against the Lakers, he's come back. He's plummeted back down to earth, which was pretty much expected of him. 7,200 on FanDuel. I'm not a huge fan. And then you have Lillard, who, if you're talking about volatility, he's your guy. Yeah. But he also has pretty intense upside as well. 52 fantasy points in his last game. It was against the Lakers, and I don't think he'll have a great game tonight. But contrarian, sure. Look, I understand the contrarian plays. Like I was trying to say earlier, that's why there he is again. That's why some people have such good results in tournaments. Like Napster Man puts these plays on. I'm like, man, I could not have played him. So I guess the contrarian play would be Lillard, but it's hard for me to suggest guys like that when I don't feel confident in them. Because when I'm suggesting a contrarian play, I'm kind of just saying like, yeah, anybody other than the guys I like could go off tonight. But in terms of Portland, Aldridge is fine. 94 on FanDuel. There's no problem taking him. Not a fan of Robin Lopez, and that's about it.
Yeah,
I like Lillard. I'll have him on a couple teams. That price is pretty cheap, and he's got some upside. I think this one has the highest total on the night, if I'm correct.
Second highest.
No, the highest is Dallas and Lakers at 223.5.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, second highest. Yeah, Dallas Lakers. Batum I get as a contrarian play because you're just kind of betting against the other top guys, and then you're taking a guy that can rack up numbers in a lot of different categories, and those guys can have volatility because the defensive statistics are a bit random, and it should be an up-tempo game. What was the other one he mentioned? Aflalo, or are we just sticking to this game?
You can talk about Aflalo.
Aflalo's price is really nice, but I just hate this rotation. I mean, I see where that's a contrarian play because you're getting a really good price on a guy, but you're also just taking a big gamble that the minutes are going to be there the way this rotation has been recently.
Yeah. Let's see. Next question. Al Smizzle says, what kind of show says that, Dave? I said, we're not the type of show. Didn't say, wasn't pointing fingers at anybody, Al. Get those panties out of a wad. And he says, Yeah. Papa Cub says, hurting Dave's feelings was a bad play. Agree, not EV, Mike. Thad Young, question mark. Thoughts on Thad Young? I mean, he's another high upside guy, but...
yeah, I mean, it's where do you draw the line between contrarian and just not a smart play? Because he's a high upside guy. We've talked about it time and time again. His usage rate's been up since the trade deadline, so he's viable to go off in any matchup. I like him, but are you going to pay more for him than Dirk, Zebo, Millsap? And then you've got Jordan. Then you've got Jordan Hill at a really good price. You've got even Zeller as a real cheap fill-in.
Yeah, I mean Zeller might be the top value guy tonight.
Yeah, I like Zeller a lot, especially because, like I said, I'm more comfortable in him hitting value than any of the cheap shooting guards.
Mike makes a great point, though, because while Thad might be a good play, speaking on FanDuel specifically, do you want to spend more than Millsap and Nowitzki? It just, I don't see, even Randolph is 7,100. I don't see the point. Even if you wanted to pair him with someone, but again, he's not much more expensive, and in my opinion, Thad's never really a bad play, no matter the matchup, because he is capable of going off, and there's really no one else on that team that's going to, breathe down his neck for minutes or take shots away from him. So in a GPP, yeah, Thad could easily go off for 50 fantasy points. But you want to spend on him when you have cheaper guys with better matchups.
Yeah. What about also the same game, cheap
Sullinger?
power forward? I was looking at Bass as like salary cap relief, not like huge upside, but if you get your 25 points from him, you're super happy, and then you've got salary to play elsewhere.
But if you went, I just don't know a situation where I would take Bass.
When you look at his fantasy production, he had a 39 fantasy point game against Chicago.
Oh, the game log.
What?
Yeah, the game log's gross.
Other than that, it's just been bad. But there's something about Sullinger, man. Really wets my whistle, Michael. I really like this guy tonight, and I wish he wasn't so expensive. But outside of that game against Chicago, where he only put up 9 fantasy points, he's been pretty hot lately, and he has killed the Sixers this season. So if he gets around 30, 35 minutes per game, you can see some pretty favorable results from Sully.
Yeah. Back to your point, Mike, about Bass. I just would rather play Cody Zeller over Bass. Just looking at where the upside is in that matchup against the Magic. Reggie Jackson, ? Yes. Reggie is in my main lineup for tonight. So
really?
in a high-scoring game, you know he's going to get minutes. You know Jeremy Lin's defense is not that of Patrick Beverley, so you don't have to worry about him being pestered all day. Like, I think Reggie Jackson's pretty safe play tonight.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't look at the matchup on paper, the defensive efficiency rankings you can throw out the window because Beverly's the best on-ball defender, Dwight's their best rim protector. Those two are out. This matchup is a complete flip from what it looks like on paper for a point guard. And Jackson's been playing a lot even when Westbrook's in there. So it's not like, there were a few times earlier in the year when he was still, he was jumping from like 26 minutes to 29 minutes with Westbrook out. But he's going to play 32 plus tonight.
What's interesting about him, save for the game against Denver with Westbrook out, a lot of his better performances have come off the bench this season. It seemed like a lot of the games where he started, he wasn't as effective, but it's hard not to like him tonight. He worries me. He's burned me a couple times, so I kind of am biased. I probably shouldn't even speak on this subject because I don't like to play him, only because he's very, I don't know, he's killed me. Son of a bitch.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Hey, yo, I thought I was worried I was going to slip.
Wow. Tell us how you really feel, Dave.
How's that for professionalism, Dave?
Right where I thought you'd be.
Come on. That's a low blow.
Play the drums.
That's a low blow, man.
Boom, boom, boom. How's that?
I don't think that's the sound they make.
You just told me to play the drums. You didn't say anything specific. As far as... do you have a good question as far as if Lowry's out, it's going to throw a kink into some lineups because you've got Vasquez at, I think, 4,100 on FanDuel, and you could do a lot with that. With having him and Mac, or even having him replace McCollum in a few lineups where you want to just see if everyone takes McCollum and he does nothing. So, thoughts on Vasquez tonight, Mike?
Yeah, if Lowry's out, I haven't looked into him too much. So I'm going to have to look into him a little bit more after the show. But it sounds like a good play. I've got my good contrarian plays when we're done talking about Vasquez, though.
Oh, so Vasquez wouldn't be in your top contrarian plays.
I don't think it's a contrarian play if Lowry's out, is it? I mean, isn't it just a good play?
Okay, maybe not be contrarian, but the news will come out.
I think it's if he's out, I think it's definitely a viable option. I like the idea of going cheap at point guard, actually. I told you, I think it'd be a lot of fun to lock in Harden and Monta and one of the top small forwards and go from there. And that would, rolling McCallum and Vasquez would definitely let you do that.
Yeah, that would probably be the optimal way. I've got a similar lineup that probably not as optimal, but where a lineup that I've faded, the two big small forwards. I went with Cousins at center and went cheap at point guard and went Harden and Monta at shooting guard. So there are a lot of different ways that you can go. Really, the big pieces of news that we're waiting on, and we pretty much know Isaiah Thomas is going to be out tonight. If he plays, it will be a shocker. I mean, if he plays, then that's one of the situations where if you faded McCollum, then you're going to be in a good spot. But I think 90-95% sure that he is going to be out tonight. And then you have this Anthony Davis situation and the Lowry situation. Those are the two big kind of game time decision that it'll be interesting to see as far as before lineups lock. You've got the Iguodala news, but that's not going to be coming out till later. And you might not even have the Anthony Davis news till later. But any news other than those three that you kind of see as potential game breakers, Dave?
Not really. Amir Johnson, that you mentioned earlier, if he's out, I don't like the matchup, but I don't know if we're just talking about FanDuel, but if we're not, Patrick Patterson is 3,100 on DraftKings, and we've seen what he's capable of doing, so I really actually like him just for the price if Amir is out. I already mentioned Chris Johnson. If Avery Bradley's out, he's minimum salary on FanDuel and DraftKings, probably everywhere. He's a kind of guy that in a really good matchup, he won't be highly owned, and I think he has decent potential with 35 minutes. And again, by the way, McCollum's played 227 minutes of a potential 240 minutes in 5 games since starting. So
yeah, set the record as far as minutes played for a rookie in like 3 or 4 consecutive starts.
And he's shooting too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, it's hard to beat him, even in a bad matchup, playing an entire game.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where I really wish his price was set a little higher. However, FanDuel did come out with these salaries a little bit before they knew kind of what was going on. You also have Kansas 13 asking about Ben Sandy. Like I said, he is one of those strictly contrarian plays. Again, going up against Reggie Jackson, like you see you're going to see either tonight one of the three, Harden, Parsons, or Jeremy Lin have a really good game against the Thunder, in my opinion. Maybe even 2 out of the 3. Parsons is another guy who I don't think a lot of people are going to be on, but I think he could still have a decent game.
The whole lineup you could play. Terrence Jones.
Oh, Terrence Jones is. What do you think about Terrence Jones? He's still a little risky. I mean,
that's perfect for this tournament. He's got. I will have him. I mean, it's hard because I've got a lot of entries. I got like 19 entries into this, so I can do a lot of different things. But I didn't mean like that.
Wow.
I just meant I'm saying I'm gonna get guys in teams. But like, there's certain guys that I want to have at least one team of, and he's one of those guys. I want at least one Terrence Jones team.
What makes you want Terrence Jones tonight?
If you didn't hear, he has 19 entries.
No, it's just high. I mean, there's a lot of potential profit there. He's at games where he goes off. I mean, that's what you want, is someone who can get you 40 fantasy points for 5 to 6K, whatever he is.
Surge against Terrence. Yeah, I was looking at Surge also as one of the. I mean, if he can get some blocks, if he can get 7 or 8 combined blocks and steals, then yes. If not, then I would rather roll Zebo out. But
and Surge is also going to have 47 free throws with Donatus hacking at him all game. So that's a plus. Well, he'll have 4 fouls within 3 minutes like he always does. But hey, might not hurt. Get a couple extra attempts from the charity stripe. Terrence Jones just, I don't know. I can't do it. He played. I know he was sick, but he played 19 and then 10 minutes. I know he was sick still, but like his minutes, my God, they fluctuate so much.
Right, but that's what makes him a high vol tournament player.
Right. You have 19 entries. I'm with you, but I'm being
not going to live this one down.
I know what you're saying, man. 19 entries. In all seriousness, you got to play a couple guys that you wouldn't typically play.
Probably the first time that Mike has really big-timed us on the show. I'm surprised that hasn't happened sooner, given the tournaments that he's won in the past.
I wasn't even trying. I was just playing satellites like as part of my routine during basketball season, and I'm not usually a big multi-entry guy. This is new territory for me. It's probably going to end up in a disaster with a late scratch where I export the same team across all 19, and then I finish last through 19th last.
Whenever I have multi-entries, my first one, like 99% of the time, does better than my other one. Unless it's like NFL. But I usually always do better with my first one because I put the most time into it, and it's really my favorite plays.
First 3,
I think
first 3 do well for me, and it goes to the point of in these tournaments, like I put 1 ticket into the DraftKings tourney. And I cash it because it was just a basic play. You've got so many people, like, we've talked on this show a lot about contrarian. And Roto Hope even said, like, is it contrarian if everyone's trying to go contrarian? What is contrarian? But with people trying to kind of hit on that top prize, you're going to see a lot of suboptimal lineups. And so if you put in a decent lineup that is just a smart value lineup, you've got a good chance at cashing and turning $200 into $500. So I really think that if you have a decent lineup, then you're going to be able to cash because you're going to have people trying to play, not play certain players because they're trying to get that $120,000 prize.
Plus, I mean, what I like to do, and I think like McJester's had success with this, and I know Chop in football season did. There's no problem with locking in a few really good value plays across all the teams and then hoping to get the rest right.
Yeah.
Then you hit on your core plays and you hope that, okay, you've got 5 entries. Out of those 5 entries, one of those 5 you get the secondary players correct. Like I think it's almost better to do that than to have like 5 completely different lineups.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I always play. Even sometimes if I really love a stud player, I'll put him, say I have like 10 lineups, a lot of times I'll put that top play into, like the earlier DraftKings one earlier this season, their other big one. I think I had 5 entries in that and cashed on 4 of them because I had the core players. I think I had 3 core players in each one. And granted, it's risky because I could cash on none of them, but sometimes I'd rather take that risk, especially when I'm winning them in qualifiers, because if 3 of those guys go off, my odds of winning, of taking, first or second is so much higher, considering, if I really love guys, simply put, if I really love a couple guys, I'm going to play them and not worry about, oh, well, what if they don't show up tonight?
Yeah. I mean, that is simply put.
Dave, I need to give my contrarian plays because they fit in perfectly with the theme of the show for the season.
Okay. Sexy. Let's tell people if you have
Buck love.
If you have any questions for us, feel free to ask them in the chat, and then
I get to talk about the Bucks. I can talk about them now.
We are. Hold on. I'm telling people if you have any questions, ask them in the chat. And we're going to get to them right after Mike gives us his contrarian plays. Go for it, Mike.
All right. Well, I just like Ramon Sessions and Brandon Knight because it's a bad matchup.
Sorry.
And it's a bad matchup, and there's so many point guard options. I don't think a lot of people will play him. But that quantity of minutes on a non-efficiency site, anything could happen. Your Sessions is playing 40+, Knight's playing in the upper 30s. I think that is, a contrarian play that isn't necessarily minus EV and will be low owned, but makes sense to me.
I agree with you, Michael.
Thank you.
I agree. I was not saying.
Of course you agree with him.
No, I think it's a pretty valid point. Knight hasn't been in any conversation near his Sessions.
Sorry, it's just a habit when you guys talk about Bucks. I just put that.
And they're playing very big minutes, and they're having some pretty decent games. All right, I'm done.
That's it. See, that's it, Dave.
Mike,
if you weren't so childish, it would be done in like 3 minutes, but you extend it.
Childish is when you try to download a sound effect on your iPad and then put it up to the microphone. That would be childish.
Oh, you guys can see this?
Oh, not at all.
I'm glad Elite just updated me on my balance. That's a lot less than it was before I played Dave.
You're welcome. Let's see. If you have any questions, again, we're going to do a lightning round. You know the rules. No more than 3 words. Surge or Dirk in a GPP on FanDuel?
Works out.
Surge or Dirk, Mike?
Dirk.
Devin Harris, ? Dave. Dave.
You put a limit on how many words, but you didn't put a time limit. I'll take it. I'll say no.
Let's see. Why is Mike yelling butt love? I don't know. Let's see. Steve Nash for 3.7K on DraftKings, Dave.
No.
Swag Dome ceremony has been moved to Monday because the big tournament today, and Papa Cub will be crowned basically on Monday. So we'll make sure that he is. S. Basilton, how good is Draymond? 3 words. He is serviceable.
Not very good. Yeah. High floor, low ceiling.
God. Good enough.
Yes.
3 words, Mike. Not 2, 3.
A max of 3 words. Jordan Hill must play.
No.
How
you only
cheap?
gave me 3 words, so I can't
Solid.
explain myself.
Solid play. Dave?
Solid play. Agreed.
He isn't a must play, but I like him a lot. I like him a lot. Give me a break, man. These are loaded questions.
For the
you're
rules.
setting us up for failure.
Blatant disregard for the rules
So
we have
please
set for
explain-
the lightning round.
Please explain how you feel about Jordan Hill tonight, Dave. Go ahead. 3 words or less. Like, come on, guy. That doesn't work. Cut me a break.
Throw me a frickin' bone here.
Dirk, Surge, or Zebo? Mike.
Zebo!
Zebo!
Dirk and Zebo. That was 3 words. Don't you dare, man. That was 3 words.
Okay, we'll give Zebo as a hyphenated word. Let's see. Mario Chalmers worth play against Rubio. I think Proper's trying to do the lightning round etiquette
He's
also.
not worth a cup of coffee.
Agreed. Teague, sneaky play. Yes.
Yes.
Dave?
He's not sneaky anymore now, is he?
Bill or Jimmy Minutes?
Neither.
Jimmy Minutes. Neither.
Jimmy.
Bill, if choosing.
Yeah, I'll go Jimmy if I have to.
I'm gonna go Bill.
Bays. Oh, sorry, I'm ahead of...
Let's see. Bays or Morrow?
It's easy.
Bays.
Bazemore.
Bays me.
Yeah, as long as Eric Gordon is... I mean, not Eric Gordon. Brian Roberts is still playing with Austin Rivers. I think the Morrow was just a limited kind of...
And even if he does give you 20 points, He's had games with 0 peripherals at all, like 19 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, and his only peripherals come in the form of turnovers.
Yeah, waiters, you said nah, Mike. I would agree with that. And I think that's it. Final words, Dave. Final words for the show. I mean, you pretty wound up, so why don't you just kind of unwind right now?
Is this? You said this is our last show?
Last NBA show. We will have an MLB show, and we'll be talking privately on bringing you back on for the MLB show.
Yeah, I know. I must say I thoroughly enjoyed it, fellas. I had a great time. Glad we could talk about Pal. Glad we could talk about the Bucks. Thank you for everybody for watching. I paled it right back to you, Michael. Can't wait to do it again next season, and good luck to everybody in the FanDuel 1.2 mil tonight. It's been a blast.
It is kind of sad that this is our last NBA show.
It's been fun, man. I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
I think you got the bunny suit nearby for old time's sake.
Yeah, I think I did.
Man, I forgot about that. He was humiliated. Those pictures will never go away.
Mike, anything you want to say?
I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I started to run out of jerseys, which is saying something for me. I'm going to have to restock for next season. But, no, it was fun, and I hope we can, keep this group together for MLB.
Yeah, we'll see.
Will that be happening, Dave?
I think it will be, yes.
We're putting you on the spot
No.
on live television.
Look at him getting all sentimental. He's about to tear up.
No,
He just wants
I'm
to
not.
get rid of us and our
I just would like to say
tomfoolery.
it's been a really fun show on Fridays with both of you. Dave, you have brought that Philly kind of style to the show, the no nonsense. Mike, you've brought that Canadian flair, and
the nonsense.
I've tried to be the hospitable Southern gentleman host. So I feel like we've got a good mix going on. But anyways, that will do it.
Is that really how you view yourself?
What's that?
Is that really how you view yourself, hospitable Southern gentleman? God, that is so far from accurate. It's ridiculous.
Again, your Philly is showing.
Southern gentleman, you just attack Michael and myself constantly, man,
No.
perpetually.
No.
I'm nervous to come on the show sometimes.
Well, you should be. But
Mike would back that up.
Mike's not nervous. He's got 19 entries in tonight's FanDuel tournament. He's not going to be nervous.
I'm waiting for a blessing from you. What did you say to Scott? Say the same thing. If I play Al Jefferson, will I win?
Yes. So I would like to say, Mike, good luck tonight. I know you've got 19 entries, and I really feel like tonight is your night. You're going to win a lot of money. So, top 5 at least, I'm going to say.
Hospitable.
I'm amped up now.
Yeah, I know you would be. All right, guys, that will do it for the show. Stick around in the chat. Feel free to talk some NBA stuff, and we will hopefully try to answer it. And I really hope that one of us takes down some big prizes tonight. So that will do it. See you on Monday.
With that
Good luck,
song,
everybody.
I feel like Mike should hide his cat with that song